People of Argentina, your newly elected president, Juan Perón.
Argentinos! Argentinos! We're all workers now! Fighting against our common enemy, poverty!
The street there is a residential building which has been there for years and years. It's a very nice building, and the store went out. They had a large Duane Reade, and it is pitch black. It's frightening to walk down there. Now, also, when I come to the studio, to Manhattan Neighborhood Network, I have a choice. I get off the bus on 57th Street, and I have a choice of walking 2 blocks on 10th Avenue or 2 blocks on 11th Avenue. It's a little bit shorter on 11th Avenue, but 10th Avenue has all these little stores, and there are people. So I prefer to walk on 10th Avenue, which is a longer walk, than to walk in the new area on 11th Avenue, which is dead. There are no stores, there's no light, there's no life. So what we're doing is we're really killing the city.
Oh, definitely. Have you been to any city council meetings? Have you putting in writing those lights removed from the streets?
No, I haven't. When I noticed the one light that went back up on 2nd Avenue, I was waiting for the rest of the lights to go back, but they haven't gone back up. And I have been intending to call, but I think it's important that the city light the streets.
Actually, yeah, I advise you to do that. Call your city council member, because you pay taxes, and the job is to help the city.
Yeah,
I've been to your house many times. Well, yes, we are friends. And yeah, I never noticed why it's so dark.
Well, it's only recently that it's been dark.
But ever since that I remember, it's kind of dark. You're right. What are like the light poles?
Well, they removed the whole light pole. They removed it. They didn't just turn the light off. They took the light poles down. And I noticed it like for about 5 blocks. They used to have lights in the middle of the streets. They took the lights in the middle of the streets
That's unsafe.
off.
That's unsafe because you're a female.
Well,
I mean, I'm a male, but still it's unsafe because you can be robbed, you can be attacked.
That's right. And then it's making the city dead.
Oh, yeah,
and also
true.
the fact that the stores are closed, that the stores are empty. There's no light from the stores. So that's another problem. But also they're building all of these huge, tall buildings. And I noticed that there's no sun on the street anymore. You can't see the sky.
I don't like those tall buildings. I like some of them, that would be okay. But too many would like construe like a segmentation, like, you know, segmentation of the city, the vibrancy disappears.
Well, in the 30s, when they built Park Avenue, they had the like 4 or 5 story buildings, and they went up to 14 stories, and the neighbors on Park Avenue were complaining that they didn't have, their sunlight was being blocked. Now, I've been in Trump Tower, and I was in this very, very fancy apartment, and I looked out the window, and right across the street, like, there's a guy sitting at his desk working. So there's really no privacy. This is Trump Tower, the building that Trump lives in.
Yes.
And the other thing, some of the buildings, which are very, very tall, when it rains, that you can't see a thing. Like they're selling sites, you're in the clouds.
Oh, because they're too tall. Like.
Yeah.
Let's go to the, well, I wanted to read something before going to the tape about the no rezoning in Inwood. You know, we are having rezoning all over New York City. We have rezoning in Brooklyn. We have it in, they call it, because rezoning is equal to gentrification. And it's on this pamphlet, it says, bar rezoning in Inwood equal gentrification. So it means that both rezoning means gentrification, means rich people come and they break the neighborhood. Whatever used to be your neighborhood is no longer, because rich people come in and whatever you had is gone and you have to displace and you have to leave.
Well, it depends on the rezoning. If there is
Okay.
good rezoning, if the buildings are rezoned at a reasonable height so that there is air and light for everyone and they do not displace existing tenants, what we need is affordable housing.
So is that happening?
No.
Is that
No.
the definition of the actual current rezoning?
And the market rate, there is no such thing as market rate. Market rate is what the landlords want and get. And the reason they're allowed to charge the rate they want is because they can afford to keep the buildings empty because it's tax loss.
So you're telling me that, for instance, I remember the previous example that I brought in when Barnes & Noble's building, or the owner, had it empty like for about 3 years. So you mean that they don't pay any taxes to the government or to the city of New York?
What they do is they claim it is a tax loss because they don't get revenue from the empty space. So therefore, they are claiming a tax loss on another property that is making a lot of money. Also, we have all these empty buildings that all have banks in them. Like on Park Avenue, there are all banks up Park Avenue. How many banks do we need? What we need are more shoe stores, we need shoe repairs, we need more supermarkets. And we're losing all the small
We are.
small businesses who cater to you. And the large corporations, they have a huge turnover in their personnel. And their personnel is, you don't get to know them. It's not like living in a neighborhood. It's not like knowing your people. Now, Manhattan Neighborhood Network has opened a new studio in East Harlem. And East Harlem is also going through rezoning. And when I went up to that studio, it was like I was walking in the area and there were children on the streets.
Like a real
It was a
neighborhood.
neighborhood and there were stores. You could look in